What if a powerful nation tried to corner India, confident that it could bend it to its will, only to witness everything collapse in front of its eyes? In this shocking twist, plans that seemed unstoppable crumble, markets tremble, alliances shift, and India emerges stronger than ever. Watch closely as every move, every secret strategy, and every unexpected counterplay unfolds, because what happens next will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about global power. The studio lights felt hotter than usual. A low hum from the cameras pressed against the ears. Piers Morgan sat upright, fingers tight around his notes. The air smelled of metal and warm electronics. Across the screen, an image of India filled the backdrop. Crowded streets. Silent borders. A nation breathing through tension. The discussion began calmly. Words moved smoothly at first. Then a sentence landed wrong. A sharp intake of breath rippled through the room. Piers felt it in his chest before his mind caught up. The claim was bold. America tried to corner India. Trade pressure. Diplomatic whispers. Strategic shadows. The monitor flickered. A map zoomed in. Red lines crossed blue lines. The room temperature dropped. Piers shifted in his chair. The leather creaked like a warning. A producer's face turned pale behind the glass. Numbers appeared on the screen. Economic losses. Broken alliances. Unexpected resistance. India did not bend. India absorbed the hit. Then India pushed back. Piers felt sweat gather at his temples. His mouth went dry. The realization struck hard. The plan failed. Not quietly. Not slowly. It collapsed in full view of the world. America lost leverage. Markets reacted. Voices rose. The studio filled with a strange silence between words. Piers stared at the data. His heartbeat sounded louder than the microphones. A faint ringing filled his ears. The smell of coffee turned bitter. This was not the outcome anyone predicted. This was not the narrative prepared for broadcast. A final graphic appeared. Global power shifting. India standing firm. America stepping back. Piers opened his mouth to speak. The lights dimmed slightly. A message flashed on the control screen. Urgent update. His hands trembled. The truth pressed closer. Something bigger was unfolding. Something that could not be taken back. And just as he leaned forward to reveal it to the audience, the screen behind him changed again, showing a single headline that made his breath stop midway. The headline burned white against a dark red background. Every letter felt heavier than the last. Piers felt a chill move along his spine. The studio air suddenly felt thin. He blinked once. The words remained. Global strategy backfires. India emerges stronger. America faces consequences. A murmur rose behind the glass wall. Producers leaned closer to their screens. Someone dropped a pen. The sharp sound echoed too loudly. Piers swallowed slowly. His throat felt tight. The cameras continued rolling. Red lights blinked without mercy. He sensed millions of eyes watching. Across continents. Across time zones. His fingers brushed the desk. The surface felt cold. Too cold. Images flooded the screen. Indian factories running day and night. Cargo ships leaving ports under dawn skies. New trade routes glowing like veins on a map. Each image struck harder than the last. Piers felt pressure behind his eyes. This was not a simple debate anymore. This was exposure. The sound engineer adjusted a dial. Static whispered briefly through the speakers. It sounded like distant unrest. A chart appeared. American companies pulling back. Allies hesitating. Confidence slipping. India, steady. India, adapting. India, advancing. Piers leaned forward. The chair protested softly. His reflection stared back from the monitor. Eyes wide. Jaw tense. The scent of sweat mixed with hot lights. His heartbeat matched the countdown timer. 10 seconds. 9. 8. He imagined the backlash. Political storms. Angry headlines. Private calls that would come later. The truth felt heavier than reputation. The truth demanded space. Footage shifted again. Crowds in India celebrating new deals. Hands shaking with partners once considered distant. Flags rising where doubt once lived. A sharp realization settled in his gut. Pressure had forged resistance. Threats had sparked unity. Piers felt unease crawl through his shoulders. The narrative had flipped. Power did not move as predicted. Power responded. A voice crackled in his earpiece. Urgent. Low. Tense. He nodded without speaking. His lips felt numb. The silence before his words stretched long. Too long. He inhaled slowly. The breath tasted dry. This moment would echo. This moment would travel. Screens across the world would replay it. Every pause. Every expression. The camera zoomed closer. No escape now. Only forward. Behind him, the headline shifted once more. A final line appeared beneath the others. Unintended consequences redefine global balance. Piers felt the weight of history pressing closer. Not written in books yet, but unfolding live. Right here. Right now. And as he prepared to speak again, another update began loading on the screen. Slower than before. As if the system itself hesitated to reveal. What came next? The screen pulsed faintly, as though reluctant to reveal its contents. Piers leaned forward instinctively, the chair creaking under the shift. A cold sweat ran down the side of his face. The studio lights reflected harshly on the polished desk. The hum of electronics seemed louder, sharper, almost accusatory. The update began to fill the screen slowly, line by line. First came numbers. Not ordinary numbers. Digits tracking movements no one outside this room had seen. Shipping routes rerouted. Contracts rewritten overnight. Financial flows diverted in silence. The camera captured his every micro-expression. His eyes darted between the screens. His pulse thrummed in his ears. He could almost hear the world holding its breath. The next set of images appeared. Military bases bristling with readiness. Air patrols skimming borders. Naval fleets maneuvering with silent precision. Maps overlaid with red and green, blue and yellow, forming a complex network of power. Piers felt his chest tighten. He could not have anticipated the scale. It was massive. Unforgiving. India had not merely defended itself. India had struck strategically. Every move calculated. Every weakness anticipated. The audience, unseen but imagined, would feel the shock in their own hearts. The numbers kept scrolling. Losses for America mounted quietly. Corporate reputations faltered. Alliances wavered. The hum in the studio transformed into a low growl in his mind. It was a sound of inevitability. Then came the visuals of people. Indian engineers at work in sprawling complexes. Farmers innovating under harsh sun. Entrepreneurs negotiating deals across continents. Each frame a testament. Each frame a strike back. Piers swallowed hard. His hands, resting on the desk, tightened. It was more than a story now. It was a revelation. A reckoning. The screen shifted again, this time to a live feed. A press conference in New Delhi. Officials standing tall, faces firm. Statements being made with calm precision. Every word dripping with confidence and resolve. Piers felt a shiver run down his spine. The gravity of the moment pressed in from all sides. He realized that this was not a temporary setback for America. This was a structural shift. A reordering of influence. The camera lingered on his face, capturing the moment he understood. The weight of history had arrived in this studio. The hum of the monitors seemed to whisper truths he could not unhear. A producer whispered urgently into the earpiece. Piers nodded silently, though the tension in his jaw betrayed him. Then, almost imperceptibly, the live feed paused. The world seemed to pause with it. Time stretched. Every heartbeat, every breath, every flicker of light seemed magnified. The headline flashed once more. America tried to harm India, but ended up losing big. Piers felt his stomach knot. Not from fear, but from the enormity of what unfolded. He had reported stories before, yet none like this. None that would echo across continents in real time. The screen blinked again. Another line appeared beneath the main headline. An advisory. A caution. The words made him lean back. This was no ordinary news cycle. This was the beginning of a shift no one could reverse. The studio air grew heavy. The hum of electronics became a low drum in his chest. Piers ran a hand through his hair. His mind raced. Strategies. Predictions. Calculations. All proving insufficient in the face of reality. India had not only survived. India had adapted, evolved, and struck with precision. And now, the world watched. Every empire, every government, every citizen watching how the story would unfold next. Piers felt the weight of every viewer's gaze. Every analyst's scrutiny. Every historian's judgment yet to be written. He opened his mouth to speak, and the feed behind him flickered once more. This time, revealing something far beyond what anyone expected. An announcement that could redefine global power entirely. And as he prepared to relay it, the room seemed to shrink around him. Every sound amplified. Every breath measured. Every heartbeat racing against the inevitable revelation about to hit the world. The headline glowed brighter now. The letters almost vibrating with significance. And then the words appeared. India's counter move shatters global expectations. Piers leaned forward, eyes wide, absorbing the immensity of the story he was witnessing. This was more than a broadcast. This was history being written live. The world was not just watching. It was changing. Right there. Right now. And nothing would ever be the same. Piers felt a tremor run through his body as the words sank in. The studio walls seemed to close in, tight and suffocating. The hum of electronics became a roar inside his skull. He could feel the weight of every decision, every misstep, every miscalculation that had led to this moment. Outside, he imagined the world holding its breath. Markets pausing mid-trade. Leaders staring at screens, faces pale, hands clenched. Newsrooms across continents buzzing with disbelief. The air in the studio grew thick, almost tangible, pressing down on his shoulders. His reflection stared back from the monitor, wide-eyed and stunned. He had seen powerful stories, explosive headlines, and shocking revelations before, but nothing matched this. This was raw, unfiltered reality. India had not only defended its ground. It had rewritten the rules of engagement. Images continued to flow on the screen behind him. Indian engineers guiding advanced technology into production. Diplomats shaking hands in the corridors of power, treaties being signed at a furious pace. Ports bustling with new trade flows, cargo ships moving like arteries pumping vitality into the economy. Every frame screamed precision. Every frame screamed foresight. Piers swallowed hard. His tongue felt thick, his throat tight. It was a story no one had prepared for. A story that defied narrative, expectation, and precedent. He glanced at the producer through the glass. Her face was pale, lips pressed tight. Even she, seasoned and experienced, seemed frozen by the magnitude of the unfolding events. The live feed switched again, now showing world capitals reacting. London, Washington, Beijing, Moscow. Leaders exchanging hurried calls. Analysts scrawling notes in panic. Investors recalculating strategies. The balance of power teetering like a candle flame in the wind. Piers could feel his heartbeat echoing in the silent pauses between images. He realized that nothing would ever return to normal. India's countermoves had sent shockwaves across the globe. Policies would change. Strategies would be rewritten. Alliances would fracture. Opportunities would vanish in hours. And yet, through it all, India stood firm. Resilient. Calculated. Unyielding. The studio lights felt harsh against his skin, revealing every line of tension. He ran a hand over his face, feeling sweat mix with the chill of fear and awe. The headline refreshed once more, larger, more commanding. India emerges as a global power broker. Piers leaned closer to the monitor, the words reflecting in his wide eyes. The narrative had flipped entirely. America, once confident in its leverage, was now forced to retreat. Its plans crumbling under the weight of meticulous strategy. The data continued to stream. Economic figures showing losses piling higher. strategic positions weakening, reputations tarnished in boardrooms and back channels. And yet, India's strength was not just in retaliation. It was in foresight. It was in unity. It was in preparation and patience. Piers's voice caught in his throat as he realized the true scale of the story. This was no ordinary news segment. This was history unfolding live, seconds at a time, with consequences stretching decades ahead. The screen flickered again, revealing a close-up of Indian leaders addressing the nation. Their expressions calm. Their words deliberate. Every sentence crafted to convey resolve and vision. Piers could feel the gravity of the moment pressing into him. He could feel the tension in every corner of the world that now looked toward India. The studio grew silent except for the low hum of monitors and the faint click of keyboards. Piers realized he was holding his breath. The realization hit hard. This was not a story he could narrate lightly. Every word carried weight. Every pause was crucial. Every reaction recorded history as it unfolded. A new headline appeared, flashing like a warning and a proclamation simultaneously. Global order redefined. India leads the way. Piers's hands gripped the desk tighter, knuckles white. His mind raced, trying to calculate what this meant. Political dynamics shifting. Economic power rebalancing. Military strategies reconsidered. Every aspect of global influence in flux. And then, a new graphic appeared, showing the ripple effect. Countries recalculating ties, investors repositioning, leaders rethinking alliances. Piers felt a cold shiver down his spine. It was as if the world itself had tilted on its axis. He knew, without a doubt, that this broadcast would be remembered. Not just as news. Not just as commentary. But as a moment when the course of nations changed. His pulse raced as the feed continued, showing celebrations, new initiatives, and decisive actions that cemented India's newfound position. The studio lights glared down, unrelenting. He could hear his own heartbeat echoing in the space between words. And just when he thought he could process it all, a final set of images appeared. A global map, lighting up country by country, illustrating the profound impact of India's countermoves. Every nation touched, every alliance shifted, every plan recalculated. Piers leaned back in his chair, the leather groaning under his weight. He had witnessed something few ever would. A power shift that had not been theorized. A strategy that had not been predicted. And in that moment, he realized the world would never be the same again. The screen pulsed, reflecting the enormity of what had happened. Piers felt an unspoken truth settle deep in his chest. This was not an end. It was a beginning. A new chapter in global history. And it was unfolding live. The studio lights dimmed slightly, as if acknowledging the weight of what had unfolded. Piers leaned back, exhaling slowly, letting the tension in his shoulders ease just a fraction. The screens behind him now showed calmer images. India's leaders walking among citizens, trade routes humming steadily, markets stabilizing. The hum of electronics softened. The roar of breaking news gave way to quiet reflection. Piers looked directly into the camera, understanding the gravity of his words. This was a moment that would define history. A moment when a nation had faced pressure and emerged stronger, reshaping global dynamics. The world had watched a plan unravel and a strategy triumph, in ways no one could have anticipated. And as the broadcast drew to a close, the headline lingered one last time. India emerges stronger. The world takes note. Piers allowed a faint, almost imperceptible nod. The story had ended on air, but its echoes would ripple across continents for years to come. He leaned back fully, the tension finally releasing, replaced by the quiet awe of witnessing history in motion. The studio fell into silence. Outside, the world moved forward, changed, recalibrated, aware. And within that silence, one truth remained clear. When resilience meets strategy, even the mightiest plans can falter. And sometimes, the world has a way of surprising everyone. What if a powerful nation tried to corner India, confident that it could bend it to its will, only to witness everything collapse in front of its eyes? In this shocking twist, plans that seemed unstoppable crumble, markets tremble, alliances shift, and India emerges stronger than ever. Watch closely as every move, every secret strategy, and every unexpected counterplay unfolds, because what happens next will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about global power.